If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a full-size mock-up is worth 1,000,000 any day. Now, Allie, Nate's wife, and I worked on the design for this copper range hood for a while, and finally we decided to use the motif that the light fixtures, both over the island and the wall sconces at the front porch and on each side of the garage door, to use the ideas and the proportion and the feeling that those lights gave us, and then just move forward and see what comes out of the shop. 1/8-inch thick door skins are a great material for projects like this. They're smooth, they're light, they're strong, and they're cheap. There are some technical details that you have to get right when you're designing and laying out your range hood. How far above the stove? How far out should it project? What should the capacity of the fan be? And, on and on. Luckily, nowadays, there's a lot of information available online. But pay attention and get as many information sources as you can, because there are a lot more ways to get this wrong than there are to get it right. Now, I still consider myself a beginner at range hoods. I think between Cy and I, over the last 10 years, we've done maybe 4 of these things. The second big trick, after the overall design is figured out, is choosing the insert itself, the mechanism that actually moves the air and that provides the light, the guts of the fan. Ours is made by Kitsch. And then once that decision is made, you have to figure out whether or not to use a factory-made liner or to just make one yourself. The liner is the attachment method for tying securely the insert to what you're building. We decided to make our own on this one. Left a bunch of trim on there because I know I'm going to have to walk this on in. I tacked a piece of 3/8-inch round stock into the corners of the 1¼ angle, pretty much everywhere, to provide an attachment point for welding little clips to hold the copper in, and to provide an indentation that could be filled with hot glue as another way to hold the copper sheets in place. Cy Swan and I discovered this method years ago for texturing copper sheets. I use a deeply pitted piece of 3/4 inch plate steel for the bottom die, and I hammer the copper right into it with a 1/2 inch thick piece of CDX plywood as a top die. The plywood softens and distributes the blow and pushes the copper down into the spaces that are created by the rusting that happened on this steel plate over the years it spent laying in the mud at the Swan Ranch. Now yes, as you can see, my bottom die holder is a little sketchy, but Dave did a great job holding the top die in place. Umpqua Sheet Metal is a great local sheet metal fabricator that's been around here a long time, and they've helped me a lot on various projects, including this one. From the wall attachment idea to the right weight copper to shearing the material out for these panels, they are incredibly helpful folks. Once the copper panels were textured, I took them back out to Umpqua Sheet Metal, and Mike put a very slight break at the bottom edge of the 3 bottom pieces. Now I would much rather work with steel than copper any day. Copper is fussy, and I know just barely enough to get into a lot of trouble. The big concern right now is that the distortion that could happen with texturing these pieces could make it really hard, if not impossible, to get the panels into the framework flat enough to look right once it's in place. Believe me when I tell you it was a huge relief when everything fit nicely and laid flat enough, because this installation happened 15 minutes before David Livingston arrived to take the final pictures of the house on the day before the first open house was scheduled to happen. I took this thing back down about a week later and snuck the ducting and everything into place so everything was fully functional prior to the final inspection. Thank you for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.